Okay, welcome to the North Texas Rotary E-Club. I'm trying to get this on. Okay, today is the 8th of March, and we welcome our members and speaker and anyone who's a potential member to our club. And we'll start with a invocation, which Linda does, and then David will do the pledge.
Bless our friendship today and bless this meeting. As we meet here today as members of Rotary, we pray that we are ever mindful of opportunities to render our services to fellow citizens and to our community. Let's continue to strive to make a better world, and we need a better world now. Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
Can I say something on that?
Yeah,
I don't know if you got the email, but Rotary International is doing a fundraiser for Ukraine. They have if you go to the website, Rotary International, they have a place where you can do donations, and one of the groupings is for international relief, and they're targeting a lot of relief towards the people in Ukraine and the people that are running away from Ukraine. And I'm sure if you're watching the news, it's a mess over there. And if you're feeling like there's nothing you can do, that you can. Rotary uses most of the money they get. I think it's like 96 cents out of every dollar they collect goes to what it's supposed to do instead of to the people running it.
But this particular thing, disaster relief, 100% goes.
There you go. So if you feel that there's something, you don't have to give a lot. You could, but even if you gave like $10, it'd help. And it's a lot better than watching what you're seeing on TV and doing nothing. So I would encourage everyone, whether you're in the club or you're visiting, to go to Rotary International. It's one of the best charities you can donate to, because they will do the thing that they're saying they'll do and not keep the money for themselves. So that's, other than that, I'll be quiet. I'll let David do the pledge.
David, pledge.
Okay. If you'll join me in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the
United
States of America,
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
Okay.
There is a delay in there.
Yeah, it was like everybody's on another note. It's like row your boat, but out of sync. Anyway, thank you all for coming. It's always nice to see everyone. Please encourage other people to come that you know. I set it up I'll put it in the chat box, but I made it easier to get on. I set up a redirect. So all you have to do is go Howie Rotary .live, not .com. Howie Rotary and it goes to the Zoom link. It just makes it easier. The Zoom link is like code. This is just easy than code. So if you know anyone you think might be interested or would like to try coming to a meeting, they're welcome to come. Just HowieRotary.live, and they could come. And we're trying to grow the club, so we would appreciate if any of you know anyone or anyone who would be a good potential member, if you would let them know. That would really help. I'm doing my best. I know some of you know I'm on Clubhouse very often, and every time I'm on, I encourage people to come here to try to help. I think this is a great group of people, and we're doing a lot of good. And if you want to see it grow, I can't do it by myself, so hopefully some of you will help me. Linda, do you have any new business?
Well, last week we were over at PATS, which is President-elect Training Seminar here at the DFW Airport, and I worked at the Club Runner table and met a lot of people. And if the new members have not checked into Club Runner District 5810.org, please give me a call and let's get you in. Our new theme for 22-23 is Imagine Rotary, and the circle is our connection. The 7 dots represents the 7 areas of focus, and the green represents the environment. So that's our new theme for 22-23. We did get to meet the president-elect. Her name is Jennifer Jones. She's out of Canada. And we gave her, well, we finally got her a Stetson. We've been after it for 3 weeks. We normally go into the hat factory outlet, and they have plenty of hats. Well, they were almost nothing, and they did not have her size. We finally, on the afternoon before we were supposed to give it to her, they found a hat. It was a lot more than we expected. It was a 20X beaver, regularly $329, and we got it for less than half price. So everybody said, if you can find another one like that, we'll take it. So
I said, if I can find 2 like that, you can have 1.
And we tried to get a picture of her, but the professional photographer didn't get a picture of it. So I've contacted her aide from here in Arlington. He's contacted her aide in Evanston, Illinois, which is our headquarters. And when she gets back into the office, the hat has arrived. And so she will put it on and get a picture, because we'd like to give it to the hat factory, because they are the ones that have been supporting us and giving us basically employee pricing for the last 10 years or more.
We've given about 12 international presidents cowboy hats.
But we had a lot of good speakers. Rick King, a president from 91, 92, I think, but he's from California. He was there. We had a person on human trafficking, and it was just a fantastic thing. There's almost 800 people there from across the state of Texas and part of Oklahoma. So it's a very, very good meeting, and enjoyed it.
But they
Can I
told us
say
before.
something? The club runner is for all the members. It's where we get our emails that I send you, and it's the district material. So you want to be on that. There's also Rotary International, Rotary.org, and once you have your membership number, you should register, because they have a lot of benefits for you. First of all, there's discounts for Rotary members all over the country. Let's say you go to Orlando, you want to go to Disneyland. Well, they'll have coupons for Rotary members where you get a very steep discount. It's not just Disney, it's everywhere in the country that you go. There's coupons, including where you live, movie discounts, restaurant discounts, things like that. And it's free, and you're a member, so you should take advantage that you have that opportunity. It's right there. They also have clubs, hundreds of clubs, canoeing, photography. If you have an interest, it's all the Rotary members in the world with that interest that you can join the club. And
There's different fellowships.
Yeah. There's also videos, training videos, which I personally found more useful than the training they give you with pets. You'll get more, if you want to learn about Rotary and how it works and what it does, the videos are very, very useful. They're really good. It's free, and you're a member, so you should take advantage of that. It's one of your benefits, and I just want to make you aware of it, and you should definitely register with the Club Runner as well. So those are 2 different places that you can go to. One is more for the district and the club, and one is the whole Rotary for the world. So I just want to make, so we have a lot of new members, and I don't think they're aware of some of the things they have.
I have sent them, I've sent Wendy and Maria, I think, an email, and also Jack, on how to register for Club Runner. So if you haven't gotten that email, give me a call and we'll walk it through. But usually it's your name, first name, period, last name, dot 7977, and then create an account with your own password and everything. So, anyway, so we'll work on it. But if you have a problem, give me a call, or Jerica can help you.
Yeah. But
Jerica's going to be our webmaster and social media person.
Yes, which is an important job. It's a very important job.
I do have a little bit of a hiccup. We do not own the rights to our website domain, and it was never registered with Club Runner. So the interface between the two, going to international, doesn't work quite well. How tied are we to .net?
What does that mean?
Well, see, okay, Bill Dindy, that worked for Elite Financial, and,
yes,
I've left a message for him to call you.
Yes, we talked,
Oh,
but
did
he
you?
doesn't have a way to get that information back.
Oh, okay.
So,
He
and
told me-
now the domain is not available where I can't buy it, but it's not supported. So it's now an unsecured website.
Okay.
But I can have a website done with Club Runner directly, and they will host it instead of GoDaddy or something like that. But the
Okay.
name will be RotaryEClub.com or .org, not .net.
Okay.
That's
So
okay.
I didn't know how.
That's a what the EClub North Texas or NTX? Okay.
Yeah, it'd be the exact same website. It changed the ending, the either .com, .org, something else instead of .net.
Okay. And what does that cost?
It's included with your Club Runner
Oh,
membership.
good. Okay. Fantastic. Okay.
Yeah. So is that okay?
That's fine.
Yeah.
Right, Howard?
Perfect.
Yeah. I don't see a problem.
We're
with that.
paying for it, so let's use it.
Yeah,
perfect.
absolutely.
All right, I'll get all that switched over this week.
Okay. Thank you.
Does anyone have any questions on anything we've told you so far tonight? Is there anything you're not sure of? Any of the new members? Any questions? Okay. Linda, is there anything else we need to do before we introduce the speaker?
I don't think so. David and I are going to be going to the district leadership training on the 26th of March, and it's at University of Texas, Dallas, and Jerica's going to take Howard's place at the president-elect's. Not that she's going to be president-elect, but then she can tell Howard what to do.
Because I'm not there. I'm here in Florida.
Yeah, he's in Florida, so we're taking care of it down this way. I'm going to be going to the treasurers. I think David's going to go to membership. And district conference is coming up for the ones that are here locally. So that's coming up in April.
Challenge Air.
And Challenge Air is the first Saturday in April. And that's
Why don't you
where
tell them
local
what it
pilots-
is? Tell them what
Yeah,
it is.
local pilots donate their time in their plane. We take challenged kids up in an airplane for about 20 minutes, let them hold the controls. When they come back down, we unload them. They're given a certificate as a certified co-pilot. The pilot takes the wings off and gives the child the wings. And then they feel that if they can fly an airplane, they can do anything. Dallas has one of the biggest fly-ins, they call. It's going to be in McKinney, Texas, which is where Howard used to live. And we usually have over 100 kids, whereas some of the other locations have over 40 or 50 kids. But we have one of the largest ones. So we're going to be working on that.
And we're loaders.
And we're loaders.
We get the kid loaded on the airplane and taken back off, which isn't always as easy as you think. We were in one airplane, single door, low wing. The kid was great until we got in, stopped, we opened the door. He straightened up, froze, would not move a muscle.
He was autistic.
His father was in the back seat, but you had to tilt the back of the front seat before he can get out. Well, he couldn't move the seat. I had to drag the kid out, lie on the wing, drag the kid out. He's lying on top of me. The father was able to climb over us, get down on the ground, pull the kid off. As soon as his feet touched the ground, oh, he's happy and all that. I remember that.
So, Miss Linda, if
Yes.
you would, I won't be able to attend that event.
I
But
know.
send me pictures because we can use those for our marketing campaigns.
Okay.
The only thing is I can't post anything with kids.
Okay. Because
Right,
they do
right.
allow us to take pictures on that. Also,
Yeah.
I do.
Can you blur their faces? Or are you allowed to post if you blur their
Sometimes
faces?
if you just put a strip.
Yeah, I can do that. Yeah.
Okay. And then also, I've got a district grant that we did with the tuberculosis patients in Mexico. I've got all the receipts and everything and pictures that I'm getting ready to submit for our reimbursement. So that will be going in this week.
And they may not all know what that is.
And what we do, we collect money. I've got about 5 different clubs and everything across Texas and individuals. And we go down to the Rio Grande Valley in Harlingen. We work with the Texas Health Department. we have a Rotarian from Brownsville Sunrise Rotary. We give him the money. He goes over, meets the nurses that distributes the medicine that the Mexican government provides. Texas provides the nurses because it's cheaper to do that than for them to come up here to get treated. And so they bought groceries for 38 families. And so we still have a little bit of money, less than $100 left over, but it should feed them for almost 2 months. And what we're trying to do, I talked to several people out at Pets, is try to get one area or club to donate enough for that we can supply every month, have them taken care of. So instead of just 1 or 2 weeks out of the year. So anyway.
Basically, $1 will feed a family for a day.
And that's not a whole lot, as considering that's basics. So anyway.
Rice and beans.
Right. So anyway, but that's all. So I guess it's time for you to introduce Mr. Beltran.
Okay. I was just waiting for you to tell me. Let me go back to the, okay. So our speaker is about, are you a leader worth following? And effective leaders see themselves as one of helping others achieve their full potential. A leader worth following must first know themselves to lead themselves. This presentation brings to the surface 2 important questions. Do you intentionally know what you're offering someone, support or challenge? And do you dominate, abdicate, protect, or liberate? With that, I will turn it over to our speaker. I recommend you mute your mics while they're talking so they don't get any background information. And if he'll allow us to ask questions at the end, you can unmute yourself. So thank you for coming. It's all yours. And if you need to share your screen, I believe you can, right, Linda? You can, on the bottom in the middle.
Yeah, I looks like I can, so that's good. Can you see the Beltran Advisory Group? Can everybody see that? Yeah? Okay, great. Fantastic. Thank you so much for the opportunity to visit with you. Again, very impressed that this group is kind of spread out all over the country. So that is incredible. Just by way of information, what I do is I work with individuals, teams, and organizations to unlock their performance potential. And so I actually have clients in Berkeley, California, and I have one client in Boston, Massachusetts, and then a scattering of clients in Texas that I work with. So I'm extremely excited to visit with you briefly so that we may be able to talk about, are you a leader worth following? So I'm going to talk about an infinity loop, which will tell us a little bit about our tendencies. I'm also going to talk about
recording in progress,
our circles of influence as well, and talk about the importance of our circles of influence and what those mean. So with that, can everybody see the know yourself to lead yourself? Go and nod. Okay, perfect. Things running perfectly. Okay, what this is called is an infinity loop. Some of you may have seen it before. And the infinity loop, what it does is it gives us an opportunity to show us our tendencies there on the center on the bottom, and also what our reality is there on the left-hand side. So the way this works is you look at tendencies, and tendencies are really what we do. And then I'm going to give you an example in just a minute. Those tendencies lead to patterns. Our patterns really show us what happens when those tendencies occur. Those patterns lead to actions. Actions tell us basically what's going on, what can we see, what can others see, okay? And those actions lead to consequences. Consequences can be good or they can be bad. It just depends. And those consequences lead to our current reality. You ever come across somebody and they tell you, man, I just have no idea how I ended up where I ended up, right? I think we've all heard people like that or have spoken to people like that. If you follow this infinity loop, you can actually track where somebody has either created a tendency or manifested an action and received a consequence which wasn't good, or maybe it was good. Let me give you an example for a second. I like to go to the gym and work out 5-6 days a week. And when I go work out at the gym, what ends up happening is I'll pack my clothes, I'll go to the gym, I'll go to the locker room, and all of a sudden, I noticed that I was looking at social media and I was looking at my phone and just kind of perusing through my phone and spending about 7 to 10 minutes looking through social media. And so what I found out is that was a tendency that I didn't like, because you have to think, if I'm going to the gym 5 or 6 times a week, I'm spending 10 minutes and I'm going 6 times a week, that's an hour a week where I could have been very comfortably in a warm bed. Instead, I'm mindlessly looking through social media. So my tendency was looking through my phone and social media. The pattern became evident when I was at the gym. The action was overtly looking at my phone. My consequences, I was losing time, and my reality became very obvious in that I didn't like the time that I was spending. So I stopped doing that as a tendency and gained back an hour a week. And so the infinity loop is powerful because we all have tendencies which are either good or maybe not as good. But it gives us an opportunity to hit the pause button on ourselves and think, is this something that's beneficial to me or not? And if it isn't, I need to stop it. But if it is, I need to magnify it and do more of it. All right. I love this quote because it's pretty succinct, and it says, "Never blame someone else for the road you're on. That's your own asphalt." It's kind of fun, but it also engenders accountability, right? And the importance of accountability. And we're going to talk about our circles of influence next, being intentional versus being accidental, and what that looks like. So this is what I call the 5 circles of influence. And so the first person that we influence is ourselves. And if you don't believe me, how many of us talk to each other? How many of us have either talked ourselves into something or out of something? And how many of us have sometimes a little bit too much, what I like to call affectionately, head trash, where it's conversations that aren't really helpful and they sort of cloud up the decision-making process, right? So the next circle of influence that we all have is our family. It's typically the answer that most people will give you as far as circles of influence. I influence my family. The second is a team, maybe a team that you're involved with at work, or maybe at a different organization other than Rotary. Of course, the next circle of influence is at an organization like Rotary, right? Each one of you influence each other, albeit online. You're still communicating even beyond online, right? And then lastly, the community. And that's why the majority of you are here, because you like to serve and you like to be involved. And so those are your basically circles of influence. Those are your 5 circles of influence that we need to be intentional continually, not accidental. So part of this influence is important as we talk about the organization in Rotary specifically, because what ends up happening is, unfortunately, with some groups, 20% of the team do 80% of the work. And so we have to make sure that we have intentionality in our service, and also to ourselves, that we are intentional and not accidental. This slide, we're going to stay on for just a little bit of time. This is an important tool. This is called the Support Challenge Matrix, and it has 2 axes. The horizontal axis from left to right is the challenge axis. If you look at the left side of it, it's low challenge, right side is high challenge. And then the vertical one right in the middle is a support axis. High support at the top, low support at the bottom. And so we're going to talk about each one of these quadrants, and then we're going to make it applicable in terms of who we are and what we do, remembering the 5 circles of influence, if you will. The first one we're going to talk about is protect. When you protect either yourself or your family or your team, organization, community, remember we're applying the 5 circles of influence, you tend to engender a culture that can be misunderstood, or a culture of entitlement or mistrust, like it says on the tool, because we're protecting too much. We're doing things for people. If you look at the bottom one where it says advocate is basically not being too involved or not involved at all, creating a culture of apathy or low expectation. So sometimes we're frustrated and we sort of just disengage, and that's advocating. And the bottom right-hand quadrant is the quadrant of dominating. Now, I'm sure we've all been dominated, either from an employer or somebody that we worked with, or even sometimes we dominate ourselves and we're too hard on ourselves. We give ourselves low support, but high challenge. So maybe we find ourselves way over on the E portion of being dominating. I mean, you have to be careful, right? Where we want to spend the majority of our time as we work with our 5 circles of influence is on the liberating quadrant. Creating a culture of empowerment and opportunity, making sure that people understand that you give them high support and high challenge. So I'll hit the pause button on myself for a second and share with you the following. I've been involved with Boy Scouts of America for quite a while, but not only as a Boy Scout, but also at the executive director level for many years, about 28 years. And my son was going through scouting, and he never achieved the rank of Eagle Scout. And it still weighs heavy on my mind. He's 23 and he's fine. He's doing great. So it didn't scar him for life or anything like that. But when a young man turns 14, there's 2 things that are dangerous to him not achieving the rank of Eagle Scout. And the first one is gasoline, and the second one is perfume. I think you know where I'm going with that. And so I felt like I was more advocating because I didn't want to be too involved, where I should have at times been a little bit closer to the liberating part, catty corner from that advocating quadrant. And I should have been a little bit more involved. But then sometimes I'd slide up to the protect side. Now, I gave you a personal example of a situation where, I slid across those 4 quadrants. But the conversation really this evening really is around, where do you see yourself treating yourself? Remember, first circle of influence is self. Do you dominate? And are you tough on yourself? Do you give yourself high support or low support? High challenge or low challenge? Do you sometimes advocate and just not engage in your own performance and your own liberation? Or do you tend to just work in the quadrant of protection, and you don't take many risks? And so you want to keep it kind of steady Eddie because you're afraid that maybe you'll rock the boat a little too much. A little bit of food for thought. Switching gears a little bit. If I were to ask everybody on this call to leave for 5 minutes, and I would bring in a significant other to tell me where they would put you on this quadrant, on which quadrant and where on the support axis or the challenge axis, I guarantee you it might not be where you think you are. And I've done it before with individuals, and oddly enough, it tends to be a little bit different from what they thought originally. So that gives you an opportunity to think through where you think you would fall. And so with that, you can open it up for any questions that you might have.
I'm wondering if there's any relationship between this and like people's political views also, and that conservatives would tend to want to hold on to the past. That's the whole point, and not move forward rather than like dramatic change. Um, but that doesn't necessarily have to be bad. So how do you view that? How do you integrate that concept of you want to make change, but you don't want to destroy everything that's working at the same time. So where's the line
Right.
between holding on to, like, say, your core values in the past and then moving forward to where change is going? Because things don't change. Things that don't change go extinct. Everything's in flux. And if you keep using what worked 100 years ago, it isn't going to work 100 years from now. Ask Sears and J.C. Penney how well that worked out for them. So
Sure.
how do you view that? How do you make the distinction between holding on to, say, something that you feel comfortable with from the past, but maybe holding you back from experiencing what opportunities are in the present? Where's the
Right, or liberating yourself,
Yeah.
right? Or living in that quadrant.
yeah,
Sure,
yeah. How do you
sure.
move from one to the other, or can they be blended, or how would you view that?
They can. When we talk about either segments of the population, whether it be political segments or whether they be socioeconomic segments, what we're really talking about are internal voices. We basically live in a world internally, we're talking about ourselves, where it's nature, nurture, choice. Nature's our DNA. That's how we're wired. That's nature. Nurture our influences, I should say, who we listen to. Could be aunts, uncles, religious leaders. It could be the radio, whomever. And then lastly, choice. And our choice is, choice to wake up at 10 in the morning or 7 in the morning. Choice to wake up at 5 in the morning. So historically, I haven't seen any type of correlation between any type of historical view on, say, a political bent one way or the other. But what I have seen is those that liberate or live a little bit more in the liberation, category tend to have a larger group of friends, associates, colleagues, because people tend to gravitate towards them. People who dominate or create a culture of fear and manipulation, they'll have colleagues and associates, but they'll do things with them purely out of compliance. And so when you're doing things out of compliance, it's pretty short-lived. And so how do you move from one quadrant to the other? Number one, having self-awareness and being intentional versus accidental. Number two, having a real self-inventory with yourself and thinking, okay, what tendencies do I need to remove from my life right now that are holding me back?
What if they're wrong? Let's say you do an evaluation and you feel something's holding, that doing something would hold you back when actually it wouldn't, because you're afraid of change. So because I see a lot of that today. A lot of people are afraid of change, and change is very intimidating. It's not comfortable. It's not what you're familiar with. And yet,
Right.
But yet without change, you become a dinosaur. So how do you work that blend between letting go of something that you feel very strongly about, but maybe holding you back, but you don't think it's holding you back? How would you approach that? Kind of seeing it between the two quadrants, and how much do you go back and forth? Is there a middle ground? How does someone establish the right equilibrium, especially if they're not sure what the right equilibrium should be?
Well, so right or wrong equilibrium is really going to be subjective, right? But what we need to really focus on is the fact that we are moving and we can move. Some people move because they're prompted. We don't want to have to move because we have to move, right? In other words, that we're forced to move.
Jay, your phone is making noise for the meeting. Can you please mute yourself for a second, please? Jay? Thank you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, not a problem. And so the...
Well, that didn't work. I'm sorry.
That's okay. So the whole idea, when we're looking at moving from quadrant to quadrant, is really based on going back to those tendencies, right? You have to first acknowledge the fact that there are things that you want to change. Hey, if you don't want to change, there's no point in looking at different quadrants. If you want to dominate yourself and have, internal speak that freezes you, or you're moving out of fear, only you can sort of start to work through that. Or if you have close colleagues or friends that can help you sort of work through that so that you can bounce ideas off of somebody, right? One of the biggest challenges, Howard, that I see is people being pulled to the past and not moving forward. And I always give them the example that, the windshield on a car is pretty big and the rearview mirror is pretty small. Could you imagine if we drove with the rearview mirror and the size that it is, right? That'd be tough. Okay, so when I visit with folks, that's one of the things that, we quickly vet or quickly, bring out and figure out where they want to be, because where they want to be is where they think, is a good place, but is it edifying? And it's kind of like the people that we hang around with, right? Sometimes we're not hanging out with people who edify us and liberate us and help us. They might dominate, they might protect us a little bit too much, or they might not be involved in our lives and advocate. So it's a slippery road and a complex one for sure. But once we're aware, that's the very first step. That's when you can take a big, giant step forward.
Because it looks like a lot of our education system is in the dominate sphere. Shut up and listen. It doesn't encourage free thinking or individuality. That's a challenge. You're disturbing me. And it's basically, if you get out of line, we're going to punish you. So I'm wondering.
Pushing somebody towards a grade, right? Instead of, being able to think. Yeah, I think that's where you're headed. Yeah, great observation, Howard. Love it. Good.
Does anyone else have questions? Anyone? I don't want to be the only one.
Everybody has it figured out.
Now, I don't have a question, but I have an observation because I mentioned it earlier to Linda as we were in discussion before the meeting started. And I think I'm relating it to myself. My experience I've been having for a few weeks in the dominate section. Wanting to post my information on YouTube, taking it from Zoom. It took me a while to get it to, I got to, Zoom wasn't that bad, but taking it from Zoom to post on YouTube and having to go search. I searched Google, I searched YouTube, I did all my background, but now it's the talk to myself. And I posted today, but I did not post with myself, with my, my picture. I didn't post with me, but I posted something I did live today, which was a major feat. And I must emphasize, major feat for me. Yeah. But I spoke my way out of that, manipulating my mind to think that I cannot do it because I'm fearful. Oh, what if it doesn't come out right? Who's going to view it? I put it on private, took it back off private, did it about 6-7 times, back and forth. And I was liberated today at some point. So.
Congratulations. That's good. Maria, thank you for sharing. There's actually a thing called self-preservation. Okay, things that we don't want anybody to know, things that we may be hiding from society in general, things that keep us from growing either professional relationships or personal relationships. And so what ends up happening is that self-preservation is like a little wall, but we can start chipping away at the wall. And through doing what you did and posting on YouTube, now it's going to become even more comfortable. And pretty soon you're going to be maybe just kind of jumping around and being extremely dynamic and energetic, and you just be more comfortable. Kind of like do you drive, Maria, at all? Do you drive a car?
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, hey, we've got people in New York, so, not everybody in New York drives, right? So, Maria, do you remember when you first started driving and you would veer to the left and then to the right? And then do you remember the first time you turned the car on and it sort of moved on its own? You remember that?
Yeah, I was 17, knocking over the garbage cans going into
There
the
we
driveway.
okay, there we go.
Turn off the music. I don't want to hear any noise.
There we
Can't remember it
go.
all.
Great, so great. I love that analogy. We have generally too much music going on. So we're not listening to ourselves the way we should, and that creates protection and advocating and dominating ourselves instead of being up in that upper green quadrant, which is the liberate quadrant.
I just wanted to say hello to David. Thank you for coming, David.
You're on mute.
Hey.
No.
Good day.
Oh, I just wanted to say hello to David and say thank you for coming. I invited him. It's all.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Anyone?
Yeah. Hi, Howard. Thanks for the invite. And I just want to add to the conversation.
Please.
All right. I want to thank the speaker for making the presentation. I do believe it's a beautiful presentation. But what I want to add is that as we look at the quadrant and we look at liberation and dominate, what I'm seeing, and he may correct me, is that most people are socialized to life from what I perceive to be the self-image theory. But in looking at the self-image theory, we are introduced to four selves. One is the ideal self, the way you would like to be, and that's the side that most people are socialized to flow from. We also have the self-image, the way you see yourself. The way you see yourself is going to be how you have been socialized to life, negative or positive. But then there's also the self-image. The looking glass self. The looking glass self is your reality is, your environment, and sometimes, forces you to be something that you're not, or you pretend to be something that you're not in order to fit in. And what I'm seeing is that these three selves tend to be the dominant in most people's life. Why? Because as Howard would have said, the education system perhaps may have something to do with that. The last self that I want to talk about is the real self, and the real self is the liberated self. And the real self is what's going to...
I lost you there.
Acting with and flowing from, and the real self. So that's just a little bit that I would love to add, and thanks for the opportunity to speak. Gary and I
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, there's definite value, and there is a truism to what we know as maybe imposter syndrome sometimes, because we just don't naturally know everything, right? So you sort of have to play the role a little bit, and that's okay. That's fine. It's not like you're trying to deceive yourself or deceive others. It's just you're trying to find your way within the role. Kind of like starting a new job. And you start a new job and you kind of fumble around. You're not sure who to talk to necessarily. And then, you find that 30 days later, you're flowing in the job. And so you have to have a little bit of an imposter syndrome to do that.
May I say a little something?
Little something. Wendy, where do you live, Wendy? Where you at? What city?
I'm in Staten Island, New York.
I'm a New Yorker. This is going to be a rough question, I can tell. Little borough.
No. Well, I mean, not necessarily a question. I mean, I could sort of be that because, I mean, what I'm gathering from this, it's about understanding yourself subjectively or more so objectively so that you can recognize, these different patterns and things within yourself. And at the same time, along with this, the thing that stands out to me or jumps out to me rather, just from even what I was actually talking about this earlier, is that this is all based on your mindset too, and the thing that a lot of people don't realize is how trainable the mindset is. So, getting to do different things to implement, where you're making these little steps and you do it consistently, it does help you move throughout, from whichever level you're on, whether it's low challenge, low support, dominant, protect, and, move towards the liberate. And I think that a lot of times people just struggle with understanding that right there is like such a big key to moving forward and making the changes, is to learn how to mold your mindset, so that's just what I was thinking about, because I'm like looking at this towards myself and like seeing like, where do I advocate and where do I protect and where do I liberate, and just how I am within my life. And I'm like, maybe there's some things I need to strengthen or train with my mindset so that I can make different actions and make different choices and different actions. So
that's perfect.
all I was really just.
That's great, Wendy. No, that's great. Where you can start is tendencies, right? I've done a tendency log with clients. I've done them for myself. There's nothing that I coach, lead, teach, and guide that I don't do myself, because it's difficult to give that which you don't have, right? And so if you start with a tendency log where you make every column the tendency, the pattern, the action, the consequence, the reality, and then at the end put a G or a B, G for good, B for not so good or bad, you'll start to uncover things that you need to do more of, that are great, that are awesome, that are beneficial to your five circles. It's not all that it's, not all of it's bad, but there will be some things that you'll go, you know what, man, I need to stop doing that. I don't even know why I do it, but I do. And so that's a place to start.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things I get even with what you're saying is your tendencies, or better yet, the good or bad part. We can easily deter ourselves once we label something that we're doing as bad or good, because now it's going to become a judgment and then a shame on ourselves. So it's easier to look at it as saying, well, what benefits me more? What pleasures do I get out of doing these things? And seeing it from that aspect rather than grading yourself good or bad, because that will easily revert you right back into advocate or, protect, because you're like, well, if I'm doing something bad, then, that's not good. So, you can either be hard on yourself for doing that, and
yes, it's a cycle, right? So
the biggest thing, absolutely. And what education systems do not teach any of is about just self-love and self-recognition, I should say connection, more than anything. And when people can understand that part, it makes a lot of this easier. We're so used to beating up on ourselves. So I don't want to talk too much.
No, hey, you're doing great. You're doing great. No, Wendy, absolutely great comments. Yeah, what's that?
And I appreciate your presentation as well. It's good information.
No, absolutely. Yeah, no, it's great. It's important, right? It's important to provide ourselves grace. We generally don't do that. We will tend to beat ourselves up.
Oh yeah, we'll judge ourselves to death.
Exactly.
Are there any more questions? Anyone? Any more questions?
I'd like to make an observation, if I may.
Sure.
I really appreciate your presentation, and as we think about the transition we go through in life, when we've reached a pinnacle of success, and now just take, for instance, the pandemic has shifted us to another mindset. You know, I was fine while I was doing my face-to-face presentations. I got to the point where I was comfortable and confident with my PowerPoint presentations and so forth. But now I've got to shift it to a virtual aspect. So now it's like a reversal and starting over. And there seems to be a little ambiguity as to, do I want to go through all this all over again? How do I get where I was successful and confident in what I was sharing before, but now to put it in a virtual manifestation, how do I get to that level of competency again? You know, that's a struggle, you know?
Right. It is a struggle. And I would say that the easiest way is really going back several years and figuring out who you're the most comfortable with on a face-to-face and starting, that process, again, because you're absolutely right. It's a mind shift, right? I mean, I'll be very candid, and thank you for that great comment. I get a little weary when there's too many people at the gym. I never was like that before. But when even the, I fly quite a bit. And so even being in a plane, I'm kind of looking around going, I hope nobody sneezes. I hope nobody coughs. I'm just a little bit more aware. But yeah, there's definitely a shift. So thank you.
Yes,
yeah.
Self-preservation seems to really take a shift ahead.
Yeah, self-preservation. I'm going to put my my email contact there in the group chat in case you want to. Do you have any other questions or anything like that beyond this conversation? But I sure appreciate the time and everybody's questions and engagement. You're a great group. And last year I did 27 Rotary Club presentations and only 2 were virtual. So there's some challenges. I can't really high five you from here, but hey, I can see your smiling faces. So that's added value.
Well, thank you for coming. We enjoyed it. You're welcome to come anytime. Some of you are visiting for the first time, and you're welcome to come back. We meet the second and fourth Tuesday each month, and I made it easy to get here. Just go howierotary.live, and hopefully you'll consider joining our club at some time in the future and enjoying what we're doing to help our community in a positive way. I want to thank everyone. Does anyone have anything else they want to bring up tonight before we finish up? Yes, I know Linda does. Okay. You got to unmute yourself, Linda. You're muted. No one can hear you.
David has cut the controls.
Okay.
Anyway, no, I was just going to say, if anyone is doing service in their community, to let me know, because we put this on Rotary Club Central, and this helps us meet our Rotary presidential citation, and the participation and everything counts. So we have at least 13 of the 25 items.
And service projects are a big problem when you've got an EClub and people scattered all over the country. But I have never known a Rotary Club that if you went in and said, hey, do you have a service project I could help with? And they'd say, no, go away, don't bother me. They'll say, here's where you need to be, bring work gloves, whatever.
Yeah.
So.
Jerica has a hand up.
Yes, so on March the 19th, Miss Linda,
Yes.
I will be participating with Salina Rotary Club and a Habitat for Humanity build.
Great. Send us some pictures.
Yeah, I'll post them on social media and stuff. So you can put me down for that. That's 6 hours.
Okay, can you text that to me?
Yeah, you got it.
Or email? Also, whenever you do the website, what information is on there now, does that transfer over?
I will ask if it can be archived.
Okay. Okay, because we do have some pictures and some notifications on there. Okay. Okay.
I was just going to say, if you want to find a local club to do things with, like I've done, because I'm in Florida, if you go to Rotary International Club Finder, you can put in your area, and it'll give you the local clubs where you are. Like there's a club nearby. They were doing a school in Haiti, so I volunteered to give them my program for Haiti for the school. And there's another club here. They were doing work with the kindergarten kids reading books, so I went and read a book. So you're still a member of our club, but if you're a member of Rotary, any club in the country or the world will let you come as a guest. And if you're not in Texas, like most of us aren't now, you can do something in the local club to contribute to your community and still be part of this club. So I just wanted to encourage that. It's a good thing to do. You don't have to do it, but it's why you joined Rotary, was to help. So the fact we're scattered like we are, it's a way you could give something to your community while being part of this community. And again, it's Rotary International Club Finder. If you Google Rotary Club Finder, it'll give you the information you need for the local club nearby, and it'll allow you to contribute something. And just tell them you're a Rotary member, and they'll let you right in. And say, my club is EClub, and it's in Texas. Is there anything I can do to with your club to help? And you can do that. And it's a good thing to do. Anything else to bring up tonight? Anyone? Okay, then we'll finish. Yes, Jay.
Hey, Howard.
Yes.
How are you?
Hello.
Hey, did I have my mic on before? I thought I heard something.
Yeah, you did. I didn't want to. We heard background noise, so I was just asking.
Oh, apologies to everyone. No, just making chocolate right now.
Ooh.
Oh, wow.
Oh, okay. Now you got us hungry.
Where do you live, David? Where do you live?
Who?
David.
Oh, me. I live in Virginia, about 35 minutes south of Washington, D.C. in Dumfries.
Okay, who is it that we had that was making the chocolate?
Jay's.
Jay. Oh, okay. Where does he live? Jay,
You're
where do you
muted.
live?
You're muted, Jay.
Where's your chocolate at? We need
You gotta
to
unmute
find
yourself.
chocolate.
Yeah, I'm in Los Angeles. So,
Oh, okay.
Right now, I also got probably about, this is just a light load right there. That's,
Oh, wow.
He has to mail some chocolate.
That's heavy duty chocolate.
Exquisite stuff, Marsada chocolate.
Oh, that looks interesting.
I'll take some.
Yeah, we roast our own cacao beans. We make our own chocolate. It's amazing stuff. So I'm always like to listen. I don't man a few words, but I got these 2 ears, so I like to listen, Howard. Thank you so
Well,
much.
you're welcome to come anytime, or the second and fourth Tuesday at this time each month. And if you go to HowieRotary.live, you're welcome to come, and hopefully eventually you might want to be part of the group, and then you'd be welcome as well.
Well, one of the things I did last week for pets, well, I usually bake these Australian cookies. They're called Anzac biscuits. But I took a couple of dozen up to the fire station by me, and then I gave a lot to the wait staff, the bartenders, the vendors that are there at Pets. So they always, I'm known as a cookie lady.
Okay. Well, we usually close our meeting with what's called David, you had something you want to say?
Oh, I just wanted to say thank you for inviting me, Howard. Really appreciate it. Sorry for arriving late.
Oh, no, glad you're here. Glad you're here.
But thank you for inviting me. I really, what I didn't catch, I really enjoyed, and I definitely will be back again.
Let me let you know, David has a podcast, and I was a guest, and he's a very good interviewer. And if any of you have an interest in being on, let him know, because he does interviews with people all over the country, and he does a good. Wendy, you want to let him put it in the chat box so he can reach you.
I'll put the link in there for you guys to reach out to me, and I would love to have a conversation with you.
He's a good interviewer, and I appreciate him coming. He's a great guy, and I appreciate everyone that's been coming. We're trying to grow our club, and you're a big part of it. And please let other people know about our club that you know. I'm doing my part. If you do your part, we can really make a difference and grow the club quickly. We're going to do the 4-way test. This is how we close our meetings for those of you who are new. And this is the basis of the ethos of Rotary. The 4-way test of the things we think, say, and do. First, is it the truth? Second, is it fair to all concerned? Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships? Fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned? And finally, will it be fun? And as you come to meetings, you'll learn it. And if you go to any Rotary Club, that's the 4 things every Rotarian is expected to abide by, be ethical, and try to do good in their community. So with that, thank you all for coming. I'll see you on the next meeting. And if you need me, you know to reach me. You have my
Hey, Howard,
yes.
Before you leave, we do work with the Rotary. In fact, we've got a event with them at the Ernie Howlett Park. I believe that's in May. We do it every year. So you'll have to look it up. It's the South Bay, just outside of Los Angeles, their Rotary Club. So we're a part of that.
Oh, very good. Well, we welcome you to be part of our club as well. There's some real advantages to being in an EClub. If you can't make a meeting, we record it. So you can watch the video when it's more convenient. So some of you, if you miss a meeting, I always send you the link. It's on YouTube. You're always able to watch the meeting after. I appreciate when you come because it's respectful to the speaker if there's not 2 people here. It's always nice for a speaker to see some faces. So I appreciate if you can come to be here. But if you can't make it, you can watch it later at your leisure. And one of the nice things about an EClub, you don't have to pay for a meal, which could run $2,000-3,000 a year at some of the clubs. And you don't have the basket going around at every meeting. You save another $200-300. But we do encourage you once a year, donate to the Paul Harris Fund. And that helps with polio and all the other projects of rodeo. I give $100 a year. That's kind of a minimum, but if you all do that, it's good for the club and it helps Rotary International with the projects that they do. You don't have to do it, but it's encouraged, and it does make a difference. It does make a difference.
Just do $10 a month on your credit card.
Yeah, you can spread it out over a year, $10 a month. But it makes a difference. Rotary does a lot of very good things. Right now, I know for sure they're doing a lot in Ukraine. They're giving people food and shelter, and it's heartbreaking when you watch what's going on over there, and it's something you can do. Instead of feeling sorry for those people, which we do, you could be doing something positive and giving them something to eat or a place to stay or some clothing, and Rotary's involved in that. And it doesn't require you to give thousands of dollars. Even a small donation, $10, $15, $20 will help somebody whose life's been completely flipped upside down. And I hope that you'll consider doing that. It's the right thing to do. It's a lot better than watching TV and feeling bad. At least you know you've done something, whatever it is. It's better than nothing. With that, thank you for coming. Hope to see you all again in a few weeks. Please come as much as you can. If you can't, watch the video and invite your friends. They're welcome to come. We're looking to meet more people. The more people we have, the more we can serve the community that we have in the communities where we live. Thanks, everyone.
She wants to say something. She has her hand up.
Oh, sure. Please.
You.
Oh, no, I was saying good night to everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, and a great meeting today.
Thank you. Take care, everyone. See you in a couple weeks. Bye.
Okay, Howard?
Yes?
Howard, you said for us to stay on. I don't see Deborah.
I don't see Deborah, so there's no point. She's not here.
We're gonna stop
Just hope
recording.
yeah, he's recording.
I'm going to stop.